We are back in Costa Rica with senior teacher Lana Vogestad, and we want to take advantage of our environment, tutorial some hot yoga poses for you. Today, we're going to do the tree pose. Now, in the Bikram world, in Sanskrit, they call the tree pose Tadasana. So if you're going to say tree pose, the literal translation is Vrikshasana. Tadasana is hands at your heart center. We'll have Lana do that for a second. If you bring your hands to your heart center, that's Tadasana, mountain pose. Now, Lana will bring her foot to her thigh. In tree pose, bring her hands to her heart center. She's doing Tadasana because her hands are flat together. The problem is you don't want to say Tadasana tree pose, Tadasana mountain pose. If you're going to say tree pose, Vrikshasana. Make sense?
Oh, that makes more sense.
So whatever you want to call it, tree pose, mountain pose, Tadasana, let's do it. First modification. If you have a serious hip problem or a knee issue, take your foot. Usually if you have a knee issue, you have a hip problem. Take your foot in the inside part of your calf muscle. The knee then rotates out in an external rotation. The hip comes under. Bring your hands to your heart center. There's the first modification. Second modification, a little more range of motion in your hip. You can bring your foot on the inside of your thigh muscle, never the knee. Calf or thigh, but don't bring it halfway under the knee because that would be injurious to the knee. So the knee is going to go out and back, hip joint forward, that opposite direction. Hands to your heart center, second modification. Now, before I show you the next modification, what I want you to do right now is hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. If you have any frustrations in this post, put them in the comments below. I get to all the comments. You want to learn all about hot yoga, tutorials, flows, teacher tips, hit the subscribe button right now and the like button. And the third modification, give you a little more range of motion. You don't need to bring your foot in the inside part of the thigh. Bring your foot up into like a standing half a lotus position. Your heel pretty close to the hip. We're going to talk about that later. Pretty close to the inside of the thigh. Your knee's going to go out and back, and you're going to hold the foot from underneath. Just your right hand comes to your heart. You're going to look at a spot on the floor. This is key. We set your dristi right in that spot on the floor for your balance. Tailbone under. Great modification. And here's a really cool tip that you can bring your hand to your heart. If you let your standing leg bend just a little bit and bring that hand to the heart, that'll help keep your foot on the thigh because you're creating a little bit of a shelf. So bend that knee just a little bit, the standing leg, and that foot will stay there, both hands to your heart center. Namaskar. You smiling? Now we've got no more modifications. If you've got super flexible hips, one of the mistakes people make is they think they want to get the foot as high as they possibly can. Bikram used to say, touch your foot to your costume. It was the old dialogue. I don't think they even say that anymore because they wouldn't want women to wear tights. They would just bare legs and a little leotard. So you say foot to the costume. So they get that foot all the way up as high as they possibly can and too far over to the left. So what happens now is the knee is too far close to the other knee, the hip is not able to rotate. You've actually restricted the range of motion by having that foot too far over. So what we want to do instead is bring the foot on the inside of the thigh, right underneath the navel. Now the knee can swing out to the right a little bit and back as the hip joint comes forward in this opposite direction or external rotation of the hip. It's a wonderful release of that hip that you want to do with this particular position of the heel.
It looks so much better.
So now we've magically turned to the side so you can see what I'm talking about from a side angle. If Lana were to incorrectly put that foot all the way up and over, here's how she does it. You can see the lateral rotation of the hip is restricted because the knee is still so far forward because the hip can't rotate under. So now watch what happens. She brings the foot in the inside of the thigh under the navel. Now the knee goes out a little bit to the right and back, and the hip joint can come forward. Now the two knees are in line from the side angle. Look at the difference in that rotation. So once again, Lana brings her foot up to the inside part of the thigh. You want to do the other foot this time? Heel underneath the navel. The knee goes out to the left and back. Pelvic area comes under. Bring one hand to the heart. Look at a spot on the floor. Other hand to the heart. If you have a mirror in front of you at home, we're one of the only styles of yoga that even uses front mirrors. Look at a spot in the mirror. So you can check your position, shoulders, elbows, hips, knees, all parallel, all on the same line. Find your dristi, an amazing lateral rotation of the hip, tree pose. Welcome to the world of toe stand, which immediately follows tree pose. We're still in Costa Rica with senior teacher Lana Vogestad. So she brings her right foot up. What's the modification for toe stand? There isn't any. Stay in tree. You don't want to do toe stand if either of your knees are an issue. Because when you go down, it torques both knees. If you have an issue, don't do it. So right foot up. She's gone, there's two ways of getting down. You can come down with a straight leg, touch your hands on the mat in front of you. You can even do a little stretch, touching your head to your knee, a little extra hamstring stretch. And then you're going to sit down on the heel, but the heel's going to cross over to the other cheek. Now, once again, you're going to find your dristi, which is absolutely key. Spot right in front of you on the floor, not too far out in front, maybe about 12 inches. I don't know what that is in centimeters, but not many. So you look at a spot on the floor. If this knee is sticking out, we're going to bring this right hand up first. It's easier to bring the left hand up after. The other hand comes up. Once you have your balance, look back in the mirror. Everything even. Knees, hips. Okay. Everything parallel. Knees, hips, knees, hips, shoulders, elbows, all even. Find your spot on the floor. Once you have your balance, look in the mirror. Toe stand, amazing position. When we go to the advanced level, you don't use your hands on the floor. You go down, keeping your hands at your heart the whole time. The way of practicing that is going down, keeping your knee bent. So Lana starts in tree, and she's going to bend her standing leg as she touches her hands on the floor in front of her. Then the foot crosses the other heel, and back she goes into her toe stand position. That's the way of practicing going down without using your hands on the floor. Here's an old clip from 1985. Bikram was teaching the advanced class at my studio. I've shown this a few times on my YouTube channel. He's going to go down and back up without using his hands on the floor. He had the record. He could do it 30 times. Down and up. Here he just does it a few, but watch this clip. To help your hips, to help your knees, there it is. Tree pose, toe stand. Broken down, beginning to advanced. Amazing positions. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing. Hit the like button. Any comments you have, any frustrations in this post, put them down below. I get to all the comments. And Lana and I will see you, smiling, the next video. Bye, everyone.